Someone gave us an idea the other day. Brilliant. We'll have to go and say, wow, we really see you've got some brains. We like the way that you put it across. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so according to this translator's note here, 34:7.3, note, all other translations of the Bible have translated that passage, or this passage, in error, suggesting that God punishes children and grandchildren for 3 to 4 generations because their parents sinned. 34:7.3. Okay. So, that'd be telling you a fib then, right? Telling you an error. Teaching you, preaching you an error. So what's that? Exodus 34:7. Okay, we're really getting into this. It might be quite lengthy here. Exodus 34:7. We're going to have a look at the NIV, one of the Modern Americanized Bible versions at Exodus. Okay, quickly zap through here. What was it? 34:7. To see what that has to say. We could compare it with the KJV, ESV, RSV, etc., etc. We'll just use it from this one, NIV, the new incorrect version. Okay, Exodus 34. Where is it? 7. How does it read here? The Lord, it's got the Lord with a capital L, and then it's got the Lord with another capital L. The compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, maintaining, here's number 7, verse 7, maintaining love to thousands and forgiving wickedness, rebellion and sin. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children and their children for the sin of the fathers to the 3rd and 4th generation. So that's what it says in your new incorrect version, your NIV. Okay? So as he says here in the original Exodus, from the original ancient, very old language of these manuscripts, he doesn't say that. So anyone who teaches you that this is what it says, they are gravely in error. If they say, no, this is what he said, or they're false, they're lying to you, they're teaching you something that isn't there. Okay? Who safeguards grace? This is God. Who safeguards grace or mercy for thousands of generations. Who forgives sins and obligations, but who absolutely does not sanctify or make those righteous or holy, right, or consider them as holy, those who sin and fail their duties, possibly from the house of Israel, right? However, he does command love of parents upon their children. It's a must. This is what they have to do. The parents have to love their children and tell them about God and what he's done for them, right? And then they pass it on to their children's children and their children's children's descendants, right, to the 3rd and 4th generations. And so forth. Here's this one here, look. Exodus 34:18. You shall observe and celebrate the feast of the unleavened bread. You shall eat unleavened bread as I have commanded you, house of Israel, in the season of the seed planting month. Was that spring? For it was during the month of the seed planting month that I liberated or freed you from Egypt. Okay, and then every firstborn has to be sanctified, presented to God. For 6 days you shall work, and the 7th day you shall rest. You shall rest from sowing and harvesting. I wonder if this, because it's got a capital D, does that mean for 6 generations, 7th generations to follow, you will observe that Sabbath memorial and rest, okay, and from sowing and harvesting. So I wonder if that means over the centuries, okay, they're doing this over the centuries. Something like you plant for 7 years and then you leave it to settle. You don't plant anything for 7 years and you go back and you plant it, right? And then you till the soil and you plant, you harvest and all that sort of stuff, and then you leave that ground for 7 years, right? And you repeat it like that. I wonder if it's meaning there. I'm not really sure. You shall make for yourselves holidays of sevenths, the beginning of the wheat harvest and the dance of anticipation at the emergence of the new year. 3 seasons in a year your offerings shall be seen before the Lord. Okay, so what's that in 21, 31, 34, 21? Literal Aramaic construction retained. You shall celebrate the feast of the Sabbath. Okay. Okay. Okay, some more commandments here. And God tells Moses, write down these doctrines, because these are the doctrines with which I have entered into a covenant with you, that Moses and the house of Israel, the children of Israel, and indeed a covenant, there you go, with all of Israel. Then the Lord said to Moses, write down we already said that. And there he was with the Lord for 40 days and 40 nights up on the mountain, and he's fasting. Then he wrote on the tablets of stone the words of the covenant, the 10 doctrines. So 27, 28. 27, 28. Here it is here. What he wrote down on those tablets, or wrote down, were arguments or explanations, probably the commandments from the tablets before that were broken. Okay. 34, 28. Yeah, it's the 10 Commandments. Commandments. Okay, 34:14 looks important. Do not worship another God, because the Lord's name is devoted, for he is the God of devotion. 14. Not jealous, as we stated earlier, it's zealous, right? As other translators have translated this word. He who is jealous of his creation, the universe. Okay, repeat that. 34:14. Note, not jealous, as other translators have translated this word. Who is he jealous of? Who's God jealous of? His creation, the universe, man, or angels? Only in the ancient Aramaic scriptures will you find the true readings of the critical passages. Okay? So yeah, if they say, oh, he's a jealous God, or perhaps a zealous God, well, they're incorrect. And if they teach that that's what he said, that's the irrefutable word of God, etc., well, then they're false and they're a liar, right? They're telling lies. That's why the translator says only in the original ancient, very old Aramaic scriptures will we find the true readings of the critical passages. He's not trying to boost it for money, say this to get money, get disciples or anything like that. He's putting out there what it actually is saying, okay, in the original language, without his prejudice, bias, or twisting it or adding flavour to it, right? None of that nonsense. What's the 34:33? 34:33. Then Moses said to the children of Israel, notice that the Lord called Bachelel, don't know how you say that, Bachelel, son of Uri, son of Kor, from the dynasty of Judah. Who's that? 35:30. Oh, okay, 35:30. Literal Aramaic retained. Hur. H-U-R. Sleal, son of Eri, son of Kur, from the dynasty of Judah. He's from the tribe of Judah, the era. And he filled with him the Spirit of God through wisdom, learning, and knowledge, and through every skill, to be imbued with the talent of working with gold, silver, and bronze. So that became his specialty. The masonry of the stones of adherence, and the carpentry of goods for the work of every artist and craftsman. And he put in their hearts to teach, he and Eliahiv, son of Hismach, from the dynasty of Dan, they are all to be filled with the wisdom of heart to perform every task, carpentry, artistry, sewing and weaving with purple and scarlet threads, making the cloth and the linens and crimson and embroidery, piecing every crafting, every work of art. So that's where it originated from. Okay, the power of the Spirit of God gave them all this wisdom, learning, and knowledge, and these skills. Okay, so they became masters in all these professions. Okay. Okay, his names Aholiab and Ahisamach. Okay, where's it? 35, 34. Yeah, he's translating their names from that. Is what they might also have been called. Okay, what's 35, 32? Assimilate the assimilation. 35, 32. To be imbued with the talent of working with gold and silver and bronze. Simulate the simulation. Okay. Interesting. What else we got here? Verses 34, 33. And as Moses ended speaking with him, he threw over his face the veil. What's that? Oh, okay, he's wearing a veil inside the tabernacle. And you go and tell the people, the children of Israel, what he was commanded to tell them. However, the children of Israel had seen the face of Moses, how the skin of his face had glowed. Moses would remove the veil from his face when he spoke with the Lord. And that's why he had that. Okay, so he probably had that veil so they wouldn't be concentrating on, wow, look at his glowy face, and not listen to what he was commanding them, right? Maybe it's like that. Okay, up here, go back up here. So, and Moses descended from Mount Sinai. He held 2 tablets of testimony in his hand. As Moses descended, he did not realize that the skin of his face was still glowing from having spoken with him, with God. Then Aaron and Israel, all Israel saw the face of Moses. The skin of Moses' face glowed, and they were afraid of approaching him. Moses called to them, then they came to him, Aaron and all the leaders of the synagogue and the tabernacle, and Moses spoke with them. Then there approached him all the children of Israel, and Moses gave them the commandments that the Lord had delivered to him on Mount Sinai. When Moses spoke with them later, he would wear a veil over his face. Okay, so he didn't realize that he had a glowy face, so he put this veil over them so it wouldn't either frighten them or they wouldn't concentrate on, wow, what a glowy face, and not listen to what he was commanded by God to tell them. It's possibly what it's talking about. When you come out of the tabernacle, right? The tent, whatever it was. Tabernacle of Ages. Okay, it says about these two people here, aforementioned. Yeah, see, these are like whatever this name means. Let's say it was. We see names here. Oh, Holiab and Ashismak, right? Of God, appointed of God, because he's the name of God. El, right? So he is Holiab of God, Ahishamak of God. Okay, yeah, something like that, and so forth. All these crafts and everything. So look at the last one. Oh, that's Jesus Barnum. Okay, so that's quite lengthy. We hope that this helps you, gives you insight into Moses, God on the mountain of Sinai, talking to Moses, exactly what it actually says in the original, ancient, very old language used by God, who spoke to Moses, right? And then he wrote all down in that ancient, very old language, be it the the original ancient, very old Aramaic, Tav Asheret, Tav Ivri, Tav Hotep, because he might have learned it while in Egypt, right? An Egyptian form of the Aramaic that was within that Egypt at the time, right? And then he might have learned from, say, what we read, his father or his grandfather, the Tav Asheret, and the Tav Ivri, the original ancient, very old Aramaic Hebrew, and the Aramaic Egyptian, because he lived there, and they probably merged the two, okay, from what we found through personal study. Okay, so yeah, again, hopefully that opened your eyes, inspired you, gave you some insight. We apologise if it's confused you in some way, because that's what this Eastern text does, right? Until you realise it, because you have a Western mindset, education, etc. So you think and you verbalise what you perceive, what you think that something says, using that Western mindset, right? You don't have that Eastern mindset. That's why it makes it vastly different, and that's why it can be often overwhelming, confusing, baffling. Okay, but if you adopt a Western mindset, if you can somehow find a way to adopt a Western mindset, we did that through communicating with this particular translator and listening to the patriarchs of the original Apostolic Orthodox Church of the East and so forth, and listening to Assyrian people, etc., or being told different things by Assyrian people, and we came to adopt an Eastern mindset. Okay, so we'll leave it there. If you liked it, then subscribe to our channel, give us a thumb up or a like, add your comments down below, tell us all about how you feel about this, whether you liked it or whatever, right? Okay, we're most interested in that, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible, and then go share it with all your friends, family, be they Christians, Jews, Muslims, etc., to show them that what they're learning or being taught or preached from these modern Americanized, Roman sourced, Americanized English Bibles of today, through these associated American Bible societies, etc., is incorrect. That the people preaching it out there think that they've got the infallible words of God, etc., etc., but in reality, through our personal research, etc., findings, they haven't. So they're preaching people